Okay, this is KP4MD. We're connected on YouTube, live streaming, or waiting for the net to start. KP4MD. This is KP4MD. Do we have a net control on frequency? Okay, please stand by. I'm bringing up the script. This is KP4MD. Okay, very good evening all. This is Carol, Killer Pop 4 Mike Delta, net control operator for the River City Arc Slow Scan TV net. This net serves for training and practice in image transmission modes and meets Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 MHz. River City Arcs members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call anytime, please announce your call sign between transmissions, and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact net control by saying break break. A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or traffic is moved to another frequency. Stations who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I will recognize each station before I continue. Any station who wishes to check into the net, please come now.
November 6th, Papa Golf, Quebec, Bob.
Okay, acknowledge November 6th, Papa Golf, Quebec. Next check-in.
Alpha India 6 Delta Golf, Joel and Florence.
Okay, acknowledge Alpha India 6 Delta Golf. Next check-in. Well, I don't hear anyone else, so we might have a short net tonight. And see, we have one viewer on YouTube live right now. So I'm going to start from the top of the list. Number 1, I have N6PGQ. Number 2 is AI6DG. And myself is number 3, and we may get some other check-ins later on. So Bob, N6PGQ, do you have a picture ready to send? Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I took the hint from the last time we talked and downloaded a slow scan image from the International Space Station, and I'm going to send it, and this is probably going to be about as good a quality as you can figure out, but this is what I got. Hopefully it comes through to everyone.
Okay, N6PGQs, KP4MD. You can see how I copied that on the YouTube stream. By the way, I want to say hi to Frank, W6NYX, who's with us on the YouTube channel. And I can read the picture there. It says celebrating Cosmonauts Day. Picture of the hammer and sickle of the old USSR flag behind this woman with dark hair. Yeah, there was a bit of fading in the picture. You could see two bars, pretty broad bars of fading, one towards the center, one towards the bottom, and can kind of make out the first name looks like Valentina, and last name, it begins with a T-E-R-E maybe, but it's hard to read any of the other letters there. But good, if you copied that, that's darn good. I'm looking at the call signs. You can make the RS0 ISS on the left side, and then NA1. I think it's supposed to be NA1SS on the right side, going down the margin on the right of the picture there, and the logo of Aris, the blue circle. You can kind of see that in the lower left-hand corner. It's kind of overridden by some of the noise from the fading. So let's turn it over to Joel and see if you copied it any different. AI6TGs, KP4MD.
So I take it recording of what you received off of ISS that you played back, and that's not the original photo, because that fading's like it came down from ISS. So that explains the relatively poor quality of the image. Otherwise, as Carol described it, and there was a repeater ID in somewhere in the middle, so I'm assuming there's bars on it. I don't have the photo up at the moment because I'm frantically trying to make the picture that I'm about to send. Back to net, AI6TG.
Okay, thank you. Well, Bob, can you fill us in a little bit more on this then? And thank you for sharing this. Over.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the YouTube picture, and it's almost exactly like I received it. The ID bars are on there from the space station. They're just in there, so it isn't our repeater that ID'd on there. My only problem with copying it was me not being a PC user is trying to figure out how to keep the only thing from going to sleep, so I could turn it on before the pass and then leave it on after the pass. But after finally figuring out how to do that, I just left the thing on, and it automatically received it, and that's what I got. And so I want to thank Carol for letting us know it was coming over and they were sending pictures. And that's what I got. I was kind of hoping I'd get one of the American astronauts, but I got a picture anyway, N6PGQ.
Yeah, okay. I looked up the name of that person. It's Valentina Tereshkova, and she, I guess, is an engineer, a member of the Russian State Duma, and a former Soviet cosmonaut. And she's this is on Wikipedia. She's known for being the first and youngest woman in space, having flown a solo mission on Vostok 6 in June 1963, orbiting the Earth 48 times. Spent almost 3 days in space, and remains the only woman ever to have ever been on a solo space mission. How about that? So very good. I don't believe I may have copied that. I'm going to have to look in my history of copied pictures. If I got that picture, I didn't get a complete picture either, as a matter of fact, because I only got 2 complete pictures. So I'm going to have to look back in my history, see if I find it. there. But thank you. Very good. You did a good job. Okay, let me turn it down to. Are there any other comments before we go on to our next picture? Okay, nothing heard. Over to you, Joel. I6TG, we're ready for your picture, please.
Okay, one moment. I've got a configuration problem. Was there tone?
No, we didn't hear any tone yet.
Just one moment. Let me reselect my audio devices. Still no tone, I'd gather.
Yeah, nothing. You had it. Had something working right yesterday when we watched you doing the demo.
Actually, that's what messed it up. I changed something for the presentation last night. I'm trying to figure out what it might be.
Okay, do you want, I should go ahead and send a picture first and then we'll turn it back to you, Joel. Over.
Did you get tone?
Yeah, it sounds like you're good to go. So go ahead with your picture, please, Joel. Okay, this is KP4MD. I'm copying, looks like two Panafold displays, the pan adapter on top of the waterfall. The numbers are way too small to really read them at all. The top one looks a lot busier. There's a lot more signal covering the entire spectrum, and the lower one has a little bit of a peak towards the center, kind of a little lopsided peak. But I'm sure you have some in, explanation for it, but I just can't read any of the numbers. So over to you, Bob. N6PGQ. How did you? There is was a repeater ID. It's like about 1/4 of the way down, a little squiggly horizontal bar. N6PGQ is KP4MD.
Okay, Carol. Yeah, I see the repeater ID at about a fourth of the way down. It looks like two different frequencies on one picture. At least that's my guess. And it looks like the top one is more busy than the bottom one. My machine here doesn't do things in color, so I'm going to be interested in seeing what the signals are and what the significance of the colors are. It looks like somebody's waterfall that may be digital, so that's my guess. N6PGQ.
Yeah, pick it up, Joel. Please explain what this is.
I'm curious what you mean by doesn't do color, but you can. Anyway, this is the before and after. So the top is before and the bottom is after, and it's basically the same display. So the top. Okay, so they're both. The waterfall is 0 hertz up to, I don't know, about 15 megahertz. And in the center is 40 meters. So you see on the left, the broadcast bands are the really bright one. So what you see at the top and the bottom are the same thing. But what I plugged in between is the 40 meter bandpass filter that I built one of a set of for field day coming up. I'm starting to get into field day mode. And this has proved to me that it seems to be working, because up above you'll see very little difference top and bottom around the center, which is where 40 meters is. And as you get further and further away from that center, the colors change more and more and more and more. There's a few things that poke through the band filter because they're just so strong, like all the AM broadcast bands on the left. And if you look at the level of the frequency display, which is the top half of each waterfall, the line, the noise floor line, is a lot further down, top to bottom, except for in the center. So my conclusion is pass for do the bandpass filters work, and I look forward to trying them out and seeing how little interference we can be able to get during field day between adjacent stations that are operating, even though they're on different bands. We were still having interference problems last year. Back to NET, AI6DG.
Okay, yeah, I have a question now. Where did you get the circuit for the filter? Was that the Ugly Filter project that they have online over?
Yes, this is the Ugly Filter project, and I want to thank you for pointing me to those a couple of years ago. It's been a couple of years since I started these, and I'm just now getting back to finishing them. So I actually had finished the 15, 40, and 20 meter filters a couple of years ago, and they just haven't been being used. Although one of them, I think it was the 20 meter one, actually didn't work, or maybe it was the 40 meter that didn't work. But I pulled them out and figured that out, and figured out what the problem was and fixed that one. And I was partway through the construction of the 10 and the 80, and I'm going to complete the 10 and pass the 80 meter one off to Anders, and he can work on that one. So thank you for pointing me to those. Neat project, and definitely seems to be working. Back to Net AI6TG.
Okay, very interesting. Another question. Do you have one of those nano VNAs that you could like run what the dB loss is through that filter of?
Yes, I do, but I don't think I have the cabling to hook both ports up to do the two-port method. I did do, in addition to this test where I'm hooking it up and looking at the waterfall, I hooked up a 50 ohm load to one port and hooked my Rig Expert AA50 up to the other port and did an SWR check. And it seems to indicate that they're good also. Although they're off, that test indicated they were off frequency. They were all the lowest point, the dip was high on all of the filters. But I think it's still close enough because like the 40 meter was across the band. The start of the band was 1.3 SWR, and the top of the band was 1.1 SWR. 20 meter it was 1.4 to 1.2. 15 meter it was 1.5 to 1.3. So not great, but I think acceptable. I'll pass them on to Anders. He's got the fancier equipment. He can have fun testing them out.
Yeah, very good. Actually, I did some VNA testing on the ones that we built a number of years ago, and I could go ahead and forward that to you so you might compare with what results you got as well. So very good. Any other comments? Bob, any comments on this? Over.
I have a question. Are they rated for 100, 150 watts?
Well, looking at the size of the wires inside, I'm a little skeptical, but yeah, they're supposed to be good for about that amount of power. I don't remember exactly. I have to go through and read again, but they were supposed to be good enough for the field day use we were planning.
Okay, very good. Hope the antennas are relatively tuned.
I need to reread the construction article, but I think that's accurate. I think they need to either be pretty close to resonant or have the antenna tuner if you're using one on the antenna side of the filters and not use the built-in antenna tuner in the radio.
Yeah, what kind of capacitors did you use?
Whatever voltage and value rating was specified in the article, if not more. I mean, like, I did look at, I looked at the caps for the 10 meters that I'm about to build, and they were like 3,100 volts or something, 3,100 volts and 0.33 picofarad, 33 picofarads or something like that.
Yeah, what I meant to say was, are they ceramic discs or silver micas?
I don't think they're either of those, but they're probably whatever was specified in the article.
Yeah, well, they specified the values, I know, but the type of capacitor it is. The ceramic disc capacitors tend to be lower cost, but they have a little bit lower Q, from what I understand, compared to the silver micas, and the silver mica is a little bit better for RF use. When we built those filters, we went ahead and we just ordered bulk ceramic disc capacitors at those ratings of 1 kilovolt, 2 kilovolts, etc. And they seem to work good enough. That's what I was asking. Over.
I'm trying to find the bag of parts, but they're definitely not ceramics. Um, uh, yeah, I don't. I'm pretty sure that the type of capacitor was specified in the article.
Okay, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, the article I don't remember precisely because that was years ago that I looked at that article. Very good. Well, thanks for sharing that. Very interesting study, and it certainly is an easy way to show that you're got that bandpass there. The important thing is that you're not like losing 3 dBs at your, at the center of the bandpass because um, that would indicate that you're losing 50% of your power. Not that you are going to be losing that much, but depending on the tolerances, sometimes what you need to do is spread the windings of the coils a little bit or tweak them a little bit to get that insertion loss. There's always going to be some insertion loss. It's not unusual to see like 1 dB or so of insertion loss with these filters, but it certainly is worth the benefit. And just got a text here on our live chat from Neil, who is aboard a ship just off Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. Says he's having some issues accessing the YouTube comments. So hi to Neil. That's KL7HQR, globe-trotting member of the River City Arcs. Thanks for checking in. Any other comments before I go ahead and send a picture?
Welcome. Hi, Neil. And yeah, comment.
Yeah, go ahead with your comment.
Okay, so I found the bag of capacitors for the 10 meter, and I got all the capacitors from Mauser, and it turns out that these are 33 picofarad, 3150 volts ceramic disc capacitors, but they're dipped in something blue and plastic looking. I didn't realize they were ceramic, but yep. Looking forward to getting them completed and field day in general. Back to net AI6DG.
Okay, QSL, and look, Bob has also joined us on chat there and saying that he's jealous of Neil being out on a ship off of Puerto Vallarta. Very good. Looking forward to having you home also, Neil. Thank you very much for joining us. So I'm going to be sending a picture now, and this is going to be PD120. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to take a standby. Do we have any other check-in? Okay, nothing heard. This is going to be PD120. Okay, over to you, Bob. How did you copy that N6PGQ KP4MD?
Oh, I copied it just fine. It looks a little bit better on YouTube than it does on my screen. Now I have both of them open at the same time. It looks like someone has taken a screenshot of a oscilloscope program or some kind of thing like that that's connected to the computer. So I don't know if you've got your Nano VNA hooked up or what type thing, but the picture came through very well. No pixel pops, or very, very few in the green square on the upper left corner. And I need to talk to somebody about how to get auto skew working on mine, because mine's kind of at an angle, tilted to the right. So anyway, it came through very, very well, and I'll be interested to see what you are looking at in N6PGQ.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Bob. How about you, Joel? AI6TGs, KP4MD.
Excellent reception, not too many pops. We're looking at a window of some Windows program. Vara FM version 4.2.2, KP4MD. Vara or Yara, I'll Google that after I finish this. And we've got a graph on the upper left, BPS 0 to 1200. It's all green, so I'm... oh, and it's not all the way across. So it was at 0, except at the extreme right it was at 0, and the rest of the display, which is almost all of it, it was at 1200. On the right we have what looks like a constellation, a display of the constellation of some digital or data mode, with a bunch of dots clustered into 4 holes, or 4 spots, upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right, within that little section. On the bottom, we've got 4 kind of like dials. Audio input, negative 34 dB FS. I wonder what FS is. CPU usage 24%. TX delay 1.26, and I'm going to guess milliseconds. SN, Illinois, 2500 hertz, plus 17.3 dB. And then below that, some little indicators: display, top, a busy, top, narrow, 12.890 or something like that, bytes received. What's that? Something box, 1080 box, RX, KPMD, Arrow, KB3X or something. And my guess would be that this is a software TNC, or the control program for your TNC. I thought or heard you doing something with packet radio. Back to Net AI6TG.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. What I did there was I took a screenshot of a software that I was running together with WinLink. The WinLink, which is a global radio email system, generally uses packet, but the Vara FM, this is what I was using on 2 meters. Vara FM can run much higher rates of transfer of data messages, and it uses a system called orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. It has a number of subcarriers that are all modulated simultaneously to get a lot more bits of data across. So this can go tremendously faster than your standard AX25 coding that you have on a 1200 baud packet. So I thought this was really curious. This is a software that was written by EA5 HVK, who is the author of the ROS modem mode for HF, and there is a version of this for HF as well, but I'm just using the Vara FM um, system, and it just even with the lowest speed, it comes at various different speeds. With the lowest speed, it is also at least twice as fast as standard 1200 baud packet radio. So I thought it was curious. Yeah, and it's got all these little dials and stuff. It's a pretty picture. This was sending actually it was receiving a rather large file that had an attachment. With some with an image on it as well. So it was in the process of I think it was almost 80% complete sending it. And, that's that big green box that you see there in the upper left-hand corner. That just sweeps over towards the right as you complete the transfer of the file. And I was on the receiving end there. It's got a VU meter in the lower left-hand corner, which shows the strength of the incoming audio. CPU usage next to that, and then the TX delay, number of microsecond milliseconds, and signal to noise ratio is the dial on the right hand side. And yeah, those 4 little boxes are the 4 carrier frequencies, and you see where they're separated there quite well. So those are the orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. How about that? OFDM. It's some amazing new technology. Any other questions or comments about this? This is KP4MD.
So Vera, does it have error detection? I'm a little confused how it fits into everything else.
You know, I am such a newbie with this myself. I imagine that there has to be some kind of error detection built into the coding. I haven't even gone that far to look at it. It is proprietary. It's EA5HVK. That's his own project that he put together. He has I'm using the freeware version, which allows you to use it at a lower speed. If you want the really fast higher speeds, you have to pay for it, and I'm not sure I'm going to be doing that much yet, so I'm just still in the evaluating stage with it. But yeah, it's supposed to be error-free transfer of data files, so I imagine there's got to be some it does send yeah, there's got to be some kind of error checking, because it sends the file sequentially with acknowledged signals interchanging. You know, so it probably has some kind of a checksum after each block of data it sends over.
So if you're using Vara, you have to be communicating with another person running Vara. It's not like multiple programs that use it, and it's strictly file transfer. It doesn't have like a chat or interactive mode.
Yeah, you can do peer-to-peer, which would be keyboard to keyboard. That certainly is an option. But one of the major uses for it is transmitting like lists and templates, forms. This is being used like for supporting agencies that we work with in MCOM over.
Okay, so it is actually being used by someone for their function. And who was it that you said?
Okay, well, Aries is using it a lot. It's also used for any place where you need to have any kind of text messaging going over radio. Using the WinLink system, you can also send emails through gateways that'll channel into the internet, and you can also send short messages to cell phones as well. So you don't need any internet connection. As long as you have access to a radio gateway, you can communicate anywhere around the world, which is really, really awesome. Over.
So it sounds like it's an established program, and its use is established within the MCOM community. I had not heard of it. Thank you for bringing this out. Back to Net AI6TG.
Yeah, affirmative. It's used for for MCOM. Also, you could use it like for things like supported races where you have different stations. You need to send messages from one station to another. It's being used for things like that as well, supporting different activities. We just need text-based messages going back and forth. Any other questions or comments on this, KP from D? Okay, well, just want to say that the River City Arc's presentation at our meeting on May 3rd is going to be about WinLink, and the person who's going to be doing the talking is the author and one of the developers of the WinLink program, and he is very experienced with VARA FM and HF, so he may be touching this on this a little bit. We've actually promoted this presentation by it's Oliver Dully, K6OLI. We've promoted it across the section, Northern California, because a lot of people in MCOM are interested in this, and looks like it's he's a very good presenter. That's what I've heard. So let's go back. Let's see, what time is it? It's 9:45. I'm going to give the option if you want to go ahead and do another round. That's fine, but if you want to call it a night, that's fine just as well. So let's pass it back up to Bob. N6PGQ, KP for MD.
Well, I probably prefer to call it a night. I have to get up real early tomorrow morning, and also we don't have a lot of people here, so maybe we can share some other pictures when Neil gets back and a few other people are on the net. So my vote is to pull the plug, N6PGQ.
Okay, very good. How about you, Joel? What do you say?
Sounds good to me. I'll catch you guys another night. AI6TG.
Okay, very well. In that case, we'll go ahead and secure the net. Thanks to all who participated in tonight's SSTV Net, and we hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Pacific time. And also sending our regards out there to Frank, W6NYX, who joined us on YouTube chat, as well as Neil, KL7HQR. This is Kilo Papa 4, Mike Delta, your net control, officially closing the net at 9:46 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. This is KP4MD, wishing you all good evening and 73.